All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our regular Tuesday night guest speaker. And this is Cherie Carpenter from Barrie, Ontario. She is an amazing woman. She was one of my Body Talk instructors. She's not only a Body Talk instructor, but she is also an advanced certified Body Talk practitioner. And she has a whole history that she's going to share with you a little bit, and we're just going to have a really great time tonight. So if you're just jumping on, please say hello if you're watching from Facebook. And I would love to hear how you're doing, and yeah, maybe a little bit about what you're hoping to get out of tonight. And if you have any questions for Cherie, pop them down in the chat, and I am most happy to ask her those questions and get some answers for you. So tonight's topic is how I survived cancer. And I mean, it was a little bit of a longer title that I was thinking about, because like not just about surviving, but about thriving. And Cherie is somebody that I know and I've seen her thrive. So that's really what I want to talk about tonight. And I think, we have so much in terms of the negative side of things, the negative side of cancer. And I just want to bring some hope. I know people. I know several people in my own life or that I'm connected with, and many of them or their family members have cancer, and I would just want to bring encouragement. That while there is life, there is still hope, and Cherie's one of those who has lived through a lot. So, Cherie, why don't you just share with us a little bit about who you are, your background, and for those who don't know what Body Talk actually is. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
And I thank you for inviting me. This is new to me. I'm quite excited to be here and to share a bit of my journey, but mostly my journey is about body talk. And a quick, just a one sentence thing on body talk. To me, it's the body talking to itself so it can heal itself. And all a practitioner does is restore internal communication systems within that body, mind, and the body does the rest. We, as a practitioner, don't do the healing. We are not healers. The healer is the client that's on our table. And that's all I'm going to say about that, except that um, my journey took me to cancer, or the cancer took me to body talk. I Yeah, I thought about it when Crystal asked me where to start, and tonight I had it all written down, but that is not where I'm going. I'm going to say that I moved to Toronto in the 90s, late 90s, to caregive one of my younger sisters. I have six younger sisters and a younger brother. And my sister developed a disorder called primary pulmonary hypertension, and she required a double lung transplant. I was the only sibling that had grown children that could take time from Northwestern Ontario. And I had just sold my restaurant when she was diagnosed. And so I had the opportunity to be her caregiver. It took her, it took her years before the donor appeared. And her perfect donor did appear. And by the time she had her lungs and went back home, I ended up staying in Toronto. But I took a job in the corporate world, and that isn't where my passion lay. I was a reflexologist, kinesiologist. I studied massage before it was regulated in Ontario. In fact, I was trained by an 84-year-old masseuse in Winnipeg. I took the bus on weekends and stayed over the week for 2 years to learn this. And when you watched her walking down the street, she looked like she was 35. And here she was 84. So, she really was a inspiration to me. And then I continued taking all the little extra classes I could by traveling to Winnipeg or Thunder Bay. But moving into Toronto opened up my paradigm, except one day I started to hemorrhage. And I had thought, what the heck? I haven't had a period in years. What's going on here? And it was right out of the blue, no warning, no nothing. Well, I went and found out that I had to have emergency surgery as soon as there was a bed for me. And they said they couldn't get it all, that it was all in the cavity of my abdomen and on the outside of all my organs. And so, it was such a shock to me. I just I couldn't even think about it. I wasn't even devastated. I wasn't elated. I was just numb, I guess. Um, and then started to recover from that. And I was heading home to see my daughter because I knew it was time to say salute. And there was a 4-hour wait in Thunder Bay every time I fly home. And she said, Mom, who's going to visit you at the airport? Because in Thunder Bay, I had a tremendous amount of colleagues, clients, family, friends. And I said, nobody. She said, oh, why? Just as if I couldn't sit at the airport for 4 hours by myself, right? I said, well, there's a course happening and most of them are taking it. And she said, what is it? And I said, well, it's your mother's fluffy stuff. Because I was a nurse beginning. And when I went into the alternative healthcare, family and friends thought I was a little funny. So anyway, there was a big silence on the phone. And she said, Mom, I think you need to take that course. And I was flabbergasted. So I said, why? Why are you saying that? And she said, well, I think you're sick because you're not doing what you love. Because I was in the corporate world. I had changed when I went to Toronto into the corporate world. And I thought about it, and by golly, I jumped right in, and I have never looked back. Now, the instructor there were 16 students in that class. She drew my name 3 times to demo, and I came back to Toronto, and I had waited several months to get into Sunnybrook for more testing. But when I arrived at Sunnybrook after I had taken BodyTalk, they said, well, here, get your gown, et cetera, you're going in for your treatment. I said, what treatment? They said, well, you're starting chemo. Well, I just blanked. I said, I can't do this. I thought I was coming here for more testing to see if things were getting better. No, and if you drop off this list, it'll be months before you get back on because the wait list is tremendous. And I still couldn't think. I think I was switched now that I know what the switching term means. Anyway, I said, well, I'm sorry, I have to go. And I don't even know why I apologized. Anyway, I left. And I really then continued to work with my past clients. And I would use the method that I learned in Reiki to do BodyTalk on my past clients. So I was doing remote before remote in BodyTalk and getting phenomenal results, but I kept my zipped my lip. But I learned that BodyTalk is always expanding and always growing. It's like a big ball of this wonderful material churning around the globe, picking up what's needed and bringing it into the system. And anybody can do it. You can have a PhD, you can have a doctorate, you can be a babysitter, you could be a mother with 6 kids, you could be a man that's a gardener, you can love animals, you can just follow your heart in this system. And you can go as far as you want or as little as you want. You could be an access technician and just do fast aid for people. Have a little fast aid clinic. Or you can go all the way and follow your passion. So anyway, I have no cancer.
Wow, that is
went on its own somehow.
Phenomenal. Really incredible. And Cherie, you had mentioned to me, I thought maybe we could pop into a few more details about sort of what sort of was sort of leading up to that. And what a story. She actually has a lot more that I'm sure she could share with you, but you had mentioned to me that they had unbeknownst to you, they had found some cancer cells previous to this
Oh,
situation
yes,
where you had
yes.
hemorrhaged, correct?
This was hindsight for me. Thank you for re-mentioning that. You know, a few, oh my God. Okay, I'll share it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, go for it. I was, the oldest of six girls and one brother, and I was the only one that was endowed. And I mean, endowed. All my sisters said you got it all just because you were first born. But anyway, I was very uncomfortable having large breasts. In fact, you talk to people and especially fellas, sorry guys, if there's anybody here, but it's true. Very hard to look at a face when this is here. And so I was so shy and so embarrassed. I hated to be in public. I'll tell you guys, if you if you knew me before, you'd be blown away by me just opening my mouth now. Anyway, I my daughter, she is too, or was, and she said, "Mom, why don't you go and ask the doctor about getting a breast reduction?" Oh, Kim, for gosh sakes. Well, finally I went because you can't buy clothes to fit. They're too big in the shoulders if they fit in the front. And as women, you know that it's a challenge. So anyway, I thought, well, okay, I'll go. So I found out as soon as I asked my doctor about this, she said, oh yeah, I'll give you some names. Like she wouldn't have, I'd never suggested it, she said, but I'm glad you mentioned it. So I picked one, a woman doctor. I went to see her and I said, well, I thought you had to take pictures for me to be accepted. Oh, not you. It's okay, she says.
How
So you
old were
get,
you, if you don't mind me asking, Cherie? How old were you at this time when you had the breast reduction? Or
oh, I was 50
50?
something.
Okay.
Yeah, 52
Okay.
maybe. Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Anyway, I had the surgery very quickly. She did a phenomenal job. And I was so happy I didn't have to put pins in my blouses anymore. It was
Yes.
really great. And I probably dropped 12 pounds at least, to be honest.
Yes.
Okay, then all this happened with the hemorrhaging, like years later, 2, 3, 4 years later, I started to hemorrhage. And it was a hemorrhage just like that, like no other. Happened twice before I went to the doctor. Anyway, when you have surgery, a breast reduction, you go in to check later. They check you over to make sure everything's copacetic. So she was an amazing doctor. She said, okay, unveil. So I went, ta-da. And she looked at me and she said, oh my God, what happened? What did you do? I didn't know what she meant because one was bigger than the other. So what? It was before, Anyway, she goes over to her charts and she opens them up and reads it. And she looks at me and she looks at her charts and she said, you didn't know. She said, I did the left breast first. And when I did the right breast, we found cancer. But they never told me. So in my mind's eye, thinking about it today, it must have metastasized unbeknown to me. And I'm not one to run to the doctors all the time. I go for my checkups every couple of years, make sure everything's all fine and dandy. Always went for pap tests, I did the rules. But I believe that that's what happened. And it was no fault because it brought me to where I am today. So I have no, I'm not saying, oh, darn doctor or anything like that. They could have caught it. No, I had to go through this, whatever it was.
Right.
So
So, Cherie, what was the name of the type of cancer that was discovered after you hemorrhaged?
they called it adenocarcinoma. But what they explained to me is that the cancer was on the outside of all the organs and endocrines and body parts. And they had to just scrape it off. And they said they weren't sure if that they got it all. But, I just decided I was going to live my life and be happy and love people and cook and
Yes, that's
yeah,
awesome. So
and
you,
happy tapping.
yeah, right?
I
Yes.
do believe though that Body Talk was instrumental in my healing because
So
I
how do
walk
you
my
think that?
talk.
Sorry, go ahead.
I walked my talk. I went for sessions. I traded with, I held practice sessions and group sessions. I coordinated, I coordinated well over 400 courses in Body Talk over the years. So I had the opportunity to meet some wonderful instructors, fabulous practitioners who are now CDPs. And yeah, so it changed my life. But I decided to be happy no matter what. And I am.
That's awesome. So, Cherie, this happened when you were in your 50s, correct?
Mhm.
So, you did not go through any chemo or radiation or anything like that.
No.
So, it was sounds like it was kind of an overwhelming situation and you didn't want to go through with it. And so what? You
Oh
just
no, I
left
had seen
or
in no in my as a nurse. My background is nursing as well. That was my first dream was to become a nurse. And you know, I work mostly with the deaf and dying, and there's nothing to be afraid of to die. So you know, I learned early uh, that whatever life is, it's okay. And I have only witnessed one death that was like, oh my gosh, wasn't supposed to be, or maybe two. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry. Did I get off track here?
oh, it's all good. It's all good. So now it's what, 20 something years
20
later?
something years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm over 75 now.
Wow.
So,
So
yeah.
so how are you thriving? Like how do you keep your I mean, I've seen you several times over Zoom and stuff. We haven't met in person, but I know you quite well. And you seem to be, thriving and you're happy and you're healthy. And what kinds of tips could you give somebody who might be struggling with their health, or maybe even they've had a diagnosis of cancer? Like what would you tell someone having gone through that experience yourself?
Mm. I think the first thing I'd say is you want to talk about it. You know, do you want to talk about it? And then maybe you'd like to see a body talker and let's see what your body has to say. And body talk isn't for everybody. But I'll tell you, I see miracles every day in this system. You know, I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Um, and, you know, some people come for one or two sessions and then they're off into other things, and that's cool. But I've got clients that have been coming to me since the beginning, and they don't come every month. In the beginning, they might come, you know, in 2 weeks, and then in a month, and then in 3 months, and then steady every season. I have people that are seasonal clients. And I have people that come every month, and I have people that I see 2 or 3 times, and then 4 years later, they're back for a tune-up or two. So everybody is different. And because we ask what the priority is, you know, Body Talk is all about, it's simply revealing the formula and explaining the procedure. That's it. We're not diagnosing, we're not prognosing. We just do the technique and stay out of our way.
Right.
And you know, that's something I think that has kept me more alive, is that I don't have to take anybody's stuff on. That's not my job. My job is to listen to what the body says and do what I'm told. What a wonderful job.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's hysterical, really, in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. So you've played around in quite a few other professions before:
I did.
kinesiology, reflexology, Reiki, several things like that.
Nursing. Yeah,
So I've heard you say that you prefer body talk to some of these other modalities. What's the
I do.
reason for that for you, or what has your experience been?
Body talk is fast.
It's what, sorry?
Fast.
Fast. Ooh, I
It's
like that.
fast. You know, if you know, not everybody wants to heal. And I'm not saying that in a nasty way. Some people are on a journey to learn from whatever it is. And so, body talk, I won't say it's fast in that sense, because everybody's is here for their own experience. So it isn't good or bad, it just is, in my perspective. But I see miracles all the time, seriously. But I also have seen clients that have passed away. But when they pass away, it's different. There's a, a different energy around people when they're ready and when they understand that inner whatever it is. Because every one of us is, well, we're together alone is my motto. um, yeah, it's different. It's different for everybody, but it's still the same journey, same path, the same, just different colors, different experiences. Um, I say it's all good, even though it appears to be challenging. I don't mean a yippee, yay, yay, this is good when someone stubs their toe. No, sir. But sometimes that stubbed toe has a repercussion that brings positive. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, what would you say are, actually, before I ask this question, I'm just going to say if anybody is watching and you have a question for Cherie, please, put
Oh,
your comments in the chat because she'd be happy to answer for you. The question that I was going to ask you is, what would be some of the lessons that you learned in terms of, when you, um, I guess, it sounds to me it's kind of like you went home and you kind of started living your own life rather than going through some of the conventional treatments other than surgery, but what would you encourage people to do in terms of, after a situation like this, or say they have a diagnosis? I know you're talking about, do you want to talk about it, right? Do you
mhm.
want to maybe see what your body is saying, right? Because your background's with the body talk. What else would you tell people, in terms of
Oh,
managing health?
well, I would say, first of all, when you have a medical practitioner, listen to them. Go to your appointments, show up. But it's not the only path because you can still go for massage. You can still come for body talk. You can still do reflexology and use your oils. Use your holistic now. Eat well. That's so important, you know. So I say do everything you can to live happy, right? And I don't mean exuberant happy. I mean pleasantness. Be pleasant inside. And it's not hard work, really. Frowns are hard to do, and many people frown, and smiles are take less muscles.
True, that's absolutely true. So Cherie, you prior to this, your daughter had mentioned that, Mom, I don't think you've been doing what makes you really happy,
Yeah.
and you've kind of had your own sort of history of things. Is there anything you want to share, sort of from your background, or that is relevant to sort of, the dis-ease, that may have been, a part of your life?
Yeah, I guess I could say I was a people pleaser. And I think it's good to be able to please people, but at the same time, it's best to please you first without being nasty or mean. And I don't know that. And I was surprised when you asked that. And it sort of like, okay. I had a restaurant for 12 years. So I was very people pleasing then, but you have to please people in a restaurant. But I think lots of times I didn't put myself first, in a good way. And I've always been an early riser, always been an early riser. Maybe, I don't know, 4.5 to 6.5 hours of sleep um, for most of my life, but I thrive on that. That might not be good for someone else.
Right.
So I think a person has to play with themselves, see what you like and what do you like to read and do you like to dance? Do you like to sing? What people do you like to hang around with? You know, when you leave somebody, do you feel all tired out and dragged out? Or do you feel like, are you energized? And I don't mean taking energy from others. Is there an exchange of something? I don't know. It's you're stretching me here.
Well, I think that's
You're,
great.
you're stretching me by getting me on here too.
Yes, this is good. This is good. Cherie and I are going to be working together more in depth. So I
Yes.
thought this would be a great opportunity for people to learn about her and for me as well. I do have a question from somebody. So her
Okay.
name's Michelle, and she says, I'm a crystal Reiki practitioner, and I'm curious what Cherie feels are the big pros and cons of Reiki to body talk.
Well, I'm a Reiki master myself, and on both Usui and Takata lineages, and that was in the 60s. That's aging myself again too. But I was always curious about the different things, the weird and the wonderful. Um, and in my day, medical was the big thing, and all that stuff was underground. And then the hippies came out, right? I wasn't a leader of that pack, but I sure learned a lot. Yes, did I ever. Um, I think they're great tools, and those tools, Body Talk has a one question at the very at the on the protocol chart. It says other modalities, and when that comes up, you ask, is it something I do as a practitioner? I'm saying, or
Right.
if you're on my table, I would ask the same question. And it might be working with crystals. It might be bringing Reiki in. Body Talk integrates every other healthcare system on the globe within its protocol. But you really need to learn that foundation first. It doesn't mean to take the class and then go off with all the other stuff. It means learn that foundation and learn it, own it, and then you can bring everything you've ever learned in this world into the system to help others heal. But we're not the healer. Don't take that on. It's the body that's the healer. Get our ego out of the way. And I speak from my heart with that one.
I
Did that
love
answer
that.
your question?
I think so. Michelle says, haha, I relate. My background is in the medical field, so
Oh,
she's relating
okay. I
to.
gotcha. Well, we need those. We need everything.
We need it all,
We do.
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
bet. I'm so happy that I managed to get into that too. I always wanted to be a nurse, you know, but then when I came to be with my sister, I got taken out of that arena, whatever. And then I never looked back. So thank you, Michelle, for that question.
Yes, thank you. It's great. If anybody else has a question, please feel free to post it. Michelle says she this is really interesting, and she agrees with the ego. I think like that's the biggest one of the biggest things that I've learned in terms of the body talk stuff is like I'm responsible to be the observer and to help reveal what the body is actually saying, but I am not the healer of the body, you know? And so being able to separate myself, even though I want results so much for people, you know, it's like the more I want that, the less of a good job I can actually do is I need to be more objective and I love that. And Cherie talks a lot about that, you know, and that we need to really just get out of the way and let the body do the work, you know. And our bodies are amazing. I think it's so incredible, you know, that your body recovered, you know, and after a situation like what you experienced, and especially having gone on for you know quite some time, a couple 2 or 3 years right after the breast reduction, not knowing what was going on, and then having this crazy experience, and then surgery, and then you know all of that, and you know, Cherie always has a smile on her face, you guys. I don't think I've ever seen her or never heard in a phone call her not smiling. So, I mean, she's definitely somebody who could attest to, you know, I think really living a life filled with joy and with hope. I love that about you. So great. I'm just checking to see if there's any other, you know, comments here. Um, yeah, just Michelle saying, you know, agree 100%, you know, and Yeah, Cherie is available as well for sessions. So she does body talk sessions. I do body talk sessions, but I am more than happy to promote her. She does sessions on me quite regularly, and I love to receive from her. And she has something. She has a skill and a skill set that I don't have, and she needs me. I need her, and that's really how health and wellness really works, doesn't it? Because, like you said, body talk isn't necessarily for everybody, but we all need oftentimes different modalities. We might need the Western medicine to fix some of the mechanical stuff, and we might need, some of this over here. And so, you know, um, it's a journey, isn't it?
It is, and the body talk system pulls the gems and jewels out of each practitioner's life and personality because it has so many different modalities that are within it, so many different courses that you can take that it fulfills you in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, is there anything else that you want to leave with people? I know there's probably parts of your journey that we've left out, but they kind of get the overall gist, and any other parting words that you would like to share?
Just be happy and smile lots. It makes people wonder what you're up to.
I love it. I love it. You have such a great sense of humor. Yeah, Cherie, I just want to thank you so much for being on here tonight and, for sharing your story and parts of it that are, in hindsight are funny, but at the time was not
They
funny.
were they weren't funny.
And, isn't it amazing that, we can look back on life and even the hard things and laugh?
Oh,
That's amazing.
one thing, I still pray.
Yes.
I don't,
Hey,
I just thank you, thank you, thank you, you know, and
yes.
thank you, Crystal, and thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. Mhm.
Yeah, this was really great. The last thing I want to leave with you is that we not only does Cherie do sessions, but she's an instructor, as we mentioned before, and we have some courses coming up. So if you are interested, actually, before I mention the course, next Tuesday night, so that is Tuesday, April the 20th, Cherie and I are doing a Body Talk Wellness Night. So normally I do this on the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month. It's free to come and you can get some healthcare. You can experience Body Talk, hear a little bit more about it, but you also get to experience an actual session. And we do this over Zoom with a group, and it also is incredibly powerful. So next Tuesday night, April the 20th, 7 p.m. Mountain Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, poor Cherie. We're going to be doing a tag team body talk session. So this is going to be fun and it's going to have a fun flow to it, which will be really great. And we're going to just share a little bit about body talk. And you can come and just experience what it's like for yourself. Also, on May the 1st and May the 8th, Cherie's going to be teaching Body Talk Access courses. So they're 1 day courses. These are just, we have 2 different dates for them. They're 1 day courses and it's about 8 to 9 hours. And you can actually learn some techniques that you can do on yourself for your own health. So this includes improving brain function, it improves reducing stress in the body, resetting the stress threshold. It includes helping your body, giving your body the best chance to actually utilize the water that's being ingested. Body chemistry is another one that we do, and that really is a support to the immune system and helping the body to get rid of any substances, viruses, bacteria, allergies, all kinds of stuff like that. Get it out of the system so that you can be better. And we also do another one called Reciprocals, which has to do with just strengthening the structural integrity of the body, of the musculoskeletal system. It has many, many more benefits than what I'm just telling you right now. And the last one is a fast aid technique that you can do. And this is like when you have an injury or you have the onset of allergies or anything, a cold, a virus, I mean, whatever it is, you could do this with on your family and your friends. So you can help them heal too. So this isn't just for you. You can use it to help others. And it's honestly, it's super cheap. It's a 1 day course, but it's going to last you for a lifetime. So if you're interested, send me a message. We'd be happy to send you the details. And it's not that much money, guys. I'm telling you, it's pretty cheap. The other thing that we're doing after that, if you happen to do this course and you find that you're really interested in body talk, we actually have a course coming up. It's our base course called the Body Talk Fundamentals. It's module 1 and 2, and it's running from June 4th to the 7th. So it's a 4 day course that you can take that will give you a whole range of techniques that you can use, and we really teach you how to listen to the body, how to get the answers from the body, all of those things. And then also the techniques which actually help the body initiate its own healing processes. So those are coming up. Any other words there, Cherie, or anything I've missed that you want to mention?
Oh, just that we learn how to help the body heal itself. And we just simply restore internal communication systems. And you learn a neuromuscular biofeedback system that helps you with your answers.
Yes. Yeah. So we can send you tons more information if you guys are interested. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here, for watching. We really do appreciate it. Thank you, Cherie. I'm going to put the link. So if you want to get in touch with Cherie, I will have her website info in the chat here so you actually can find her if you want to book a session or anything else. So thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Cherie. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday, hopefully.
And thank you, Crystal. Thank you, everyone.